Will international tariffs trump agriculture? For starters, let's define what a tariff is. According to Webster's dictionary, it is a tax or duty that is to be paid on a particular class of imports or exports. In fact, any country can impose a tariff. The concept of a tariff is to create a competitive advantage for a respective country's domestic product. At the beginning of Trump's transition into presidency, a 30 to 50% international tariff was quickly imposed on washing machines and solar panels. In March of 2018, the President of the United States and his administration imposed a 10% tariff on aluminum and a 25% tariff on steel. Furthermore, China was met with a 25% tariff on 800 imported goods worth $50 billion. This mass tariff was followed up this October with a 25% tariff on an additional $200 billion in Chinese goods. According to the executive summary of the president's trade policy, these tariffs are a political and economic strategy that the President of the United States and his administration believe will encourage investment and growth of U.S.-based companies. This has further been expressed through the litany of Twitter tweets by the president. Currently, the United States exports a large quantity of the agricultural commodities that it produces. So, how will tariffs imposed by the United States impact their own agricultural commodities? This becomes clear when we review a similar situation from our own history books a half century ago. The year is 1962. The global economy has settled a couple decades after World War II. European agriculture is growing, including chicken production. Prior to the 1960s, not only had chicken remained expensive in Europe, it was also considered a delicacy. On the other hand, in the United States, chicken industry exploded after World War II. Chicken had become a staple food in nearly every household. The large-scale poultry production in the United States created an opportunity for inexpensive international trade of chicken to Europe. Chicken growers did not share the same enthusiasm towards the cheap competition. French and German chicken farmers raised their concerns to their respective governments. U.S. chicken was quickly met with harsh tariffs, and chicken trade to Europe nearly halted overnight. The result of these tariffs on U.S. chicken reduced export of the commodity by 50% within 1 year, a loss of $14 million in 1964. That is equal to $126 million today. In retaliation, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the infamous chicken tax in 1964. This was a 25% tariff on dextrin, brandy, potato starch, and light trucks that were all imported out of Europe. How do these products relate to chicken? They don't, but they were exported from Europe in large quantities. These U.S. tariffs were devastating for French brandy and German automobile companies like Volkswagen, who were developing a line of small trucks with the intention of export. Due to the retaliatory tariff, foreign trucks never gained popularity in the United States and created an opportunity for American-made trucks to dominate the market. Now, over 50 years later, when you ask how the current tariffs imposed by Trump will affect the U.S. agriculture, the answer becomes clear. When the current presidential administration imposed the tariffs on steel and aluminum, they sparked the catalyst that is forcing our trade partners to threaten with retaliatory tariffs. This silent conflict has escalated to a now-termed trade war, a tariff versus tariff conflict. The U.S. exports a wide array of products, but the products most at risk are our $140 billion worth of agricultural commodities. The Chinese have threatened a 50% tariff on U.S. pork, 25 to 40% tariff on tree nuts, and a 25% tariff on cheese, soybean, cotton, corn, wheat, beef, and sorghum, just to name a few. Beyond China, Mexico, Canada, and the EU have all threatened similar tariffs on agricultural commodities that would affect even more U.S. products. The impact of the chicken tax has continued to have an influence on businesses decades later, similar to how Trump's tariffs today will have continued impacts tomorrow. In the short term, U.S. farmers are hopeful that trade agreements are negotiated where international agricultural markets could disappear and leave farmers in a terrible financial state. Though, there are glimmers of hope. For example, this October, a trade deal between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada was established. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, has already proven to be a positive for the United States of America. Through negotiations, the United States dairy farmers have regained access to Canadian milk markets and are now able to capitalize on this foreign market. So what can you do? Be aware. By sourcing information from organizations such as the United States Department of Commerce and International Trade Commission, you can be knowledgeable about the current term trade war. Also, continue to advocate for renegotiated trade deals alongside groups such as the American Farm Bureau. Ultimately, be a voice and contact your senators and representatives demanding a new trade markets that will allow for the United States agricultural sectors to prosper. Thank you.